Today we are going to be using benchmarks with fractions. We are going to ask ourselves, is it closer to 0, 1/2, or 1 whole? Our learning target for today is I can compare fractions using benchmarks of 0, 1/2, and 1. We know that using the benchmark of 1/2 can be helpful when comparing fractions. We can also use that benchmark to help us compare the closeness to 1/2, 0, and 1. Let's try one for ourselves. So here we're asked, is 4/10 closer to 0, 1/2, or 1 whole? Using a number line is going to be our best bet here. So I know that if my denominator is 10, that means I need to have 10 equal pieces. If I have 10 equal pieces, that means I need to draw 11 equally spaced lines. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we're going to label 0 at the beginning of our number line and 1 at the end. So our next thing to do is to label all these spots on the number line. So we're going to label on the bottom today. So 0/10, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and 1 whole, which is also 10/10. So we need to compare to 0, 1/2, and 1 whole. So we are going to show that orange is 0, green will be 1/2, and we know that 1/2 in terms of tenths is 5/10 because 5 is half of 10. And lastly, we are going to use blue to represent 1 whole, or 10/10. So we're going to start by putting our little star on our number line of where 4/10 is. So we're going to hop backwards and forwards on this number line to see how far 4/10 is from each of these spots. So we're going to start with 0. So I'm going to start at 4/10 and I'm going to hop backwards. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10 away. So 4/10 is 4/10 from 0. Now let's compare to 1/2. Start at 4/10 and we go to 5/10. We only hopped 1/10 of the way. Lastly, we're going to hop from 4/10 all the way to 10/10. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10. So we are looking for which of these fractions is the smallest. Here we see that it is closest to 1/2 because we only hopped 1/10 of the way. 1/10 is smaller than 4/10 and it is smaller than 6/10. Therefore, 4/10 is closer to 1/2. Let's do another one. We're wondering if 2/12 is closer to 0, 1/2, or 1 whole. Since our denominator is 12, I know that I need 12 equally spaced pieces, so we are drawing 13 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, we label our 0 and our 1, and let's not forget it's time to label. 12, excuse me. 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5/12, 6/12, 7/12, 8/12, 9/12, 10/12, 11/12, and 12/12. So we are using 2/12 to compare here. So again, we're going to use orange for 0/12, green for 1/2, which we know that 1/2 is equal to 6/12 here, and 1 whole, which is equal to 12/12. So let's start with 0. We're going to hop on our number line from 12/12 to 0/12. We did 2 hops, which represents 2/12 away. Now let's hop to 1/2. 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12. Lastly, we have to hop from 2/12 all the way to 12/12. Ready? 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5/12, 6/12, 7/12, 8/12, 9/12, 10/12 away. Whew, that's far. All right, so remember we're looking for our smallest fraction. 2/12 is closer to which number? I want you to look. Which one has the least amount of hops? Here I see that 2/12 is my smallest amount of hops, and I know that 2/12 is 2/12 away from 0/12, which means 2/12 is closer to 0. All right, let's try one more. 7/12 is closer to 0, 1/2, or 1 whole. I have 8 equally sized pieces, so we need to draw 9 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remember, we have to label all of our fractions. 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. Remember, we are using orange to compare to 0. We are using green to compare to 1/2, and here we know that 1/2 is equal to 4/8, and 1 whole, which is equal to 8/8. So, we are comparing 7/8. So we're going to start by hopping all the way backwards to 0. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8 away from 0. Let's hop to 1/2. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. Lastly, let's hop from 7/8 to 1. 1/8. So here we see that 7/8 is 7/8 from 0, 3/8 from 1/2, and 1/8 from 1 whole. Remember, we want to find the smallest fraction, and we know that 1/8 is our smallest fraction, which means that 7/8 is closest to 1 whole. Thanks for watching. We love to use benchmarks to help us compare numbers.